Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I, Roxana Parvin, Senior Lecturer, Department of Biology, welcome you to the online class today on Chapter 6 from your subject Science. Before starting my lecture, I'd like to pay attention on boosting up your immunity. Eat more and more vitamin C's to get rid of any kind of diseases including coronavirus. So, we must be very cautious about health and fitness. So let's get started with the polymerization. That is the main topic of the chapter. Right. What is polymerization though? As it is written there, poly means many and mer means small pieces or the parts, right? So polymerization means the process of making a large component or molecule by adding up small fragments of molecules. Okay, that's by polymerization, and with the help of polymerization we know that different types of practical substances are being made. For example, switchboard like bakelite, for example PVC pipe, like PVC means you already know that polyvinyl chloride. Okay, so that's how polymerization is made. Whatever is written here are all about the important topics for your upcoming SSC exam, right? So first of all, the process of polythene production. You know how polythenes are being made? Yes, small particles of ethylenes are compressed by specific pressure and temperature to make a long chain of polythene or ethylene, right? Will know the following the flowcharts at your book, right? Next is the classification of fibers. How could you classify the fibers? At first, of course, there are two types of fibers: natural fiber and artificial fiber. So natural fibers are of a great range of fibers including plants and animal sources, whereas the artificial fibers are man-made totally or industrially. They can be formed by mixing either only chemical substances artificially or by mixing with the natural fiber and artificial sources. Okay, what's next? The properties of fibers with the specific properties and uses, of course. You need to know the properties of cotton, most importantly the properties of wool, nylon, rayon, rubber, plastics and so on, right? Whatever at your subject or whatever at your syllabus. Next is, we'll get to know the spinning process of cotton fiber. You know the steps are, at first we need to collect the fibers, then we need to go for carding and combing, right? No, you need to match it up. At first we need to collect the fibers, then we need to mix and blend, then we can go for carding and combing. Okay, and finally carding and combing, when it is done we need to twist it by the twister. Clear? We'll get to know the detail about that. Okay, roles of rubber and plastics. We know rubber and plastics are very important and we cannot think of a single day without these things. We can make utensils for our kitchen. Even I'm holding the marker, this is also made of the properties of some sort of, this is made of plastics mainly, of course, and they have lot of positive sides for our daily life. Okay, in addition to these, we know that how they are harming our environment and how they are actually restricting the overall production of agricultural issues. Clear? Let's go for the details of this section. Well, at the part of the discussion, we will discuss about the properties of cotton fibers. At first, we need to know what is the cotton fiber known as. This is generally known as the king of all fibers because these fibers are suitable for using in all seasons, especially summer season, because the clothes made of this fiber is very comfortable and it has a very strong heat conductivity, right? So let's discuss about the twist. What is twist? Twist means In infrastructurally, if you put the fiber in the microscope, you see several twists are there. Generally 200 to 300 twists are found in each fiber. These fibers are found as a cotton ball surrounding the seeds of cotton, right? So these are being separated. A cotton lint is made and sent it to the industrial processing called cotton fiber spinning process, right? After that we can get the final clothes. What is lumen? Inside the fiber microscopically there are flat lumens because they are tubular, but their structure is flattened. You already know what is the heat conductivity. Yes, cotton fiber is a good conductor of heat conductivity or heat, right? It can pass the internal body temperature outside the body or environment, and it can also absorb the temperature from environment to the body. That means it can pass the heat or temperature. That's why we feel comfortable wearing these dresses. Okay, what's the next? Hydrophilic. What is hydrophilic substance? We know the substances which are capable of absorbing water or moisture from anything. So this is a high capacity to absorb the moisture. The color or retaining capacity, yes, cotton has a very strong color retaining capacity. It can absorb the dyes when spinning is done or the fibers are being made during cotton cloth formation or large clothes in the market available, available in the market. So they are actually dyed by different sort of colors, and it has a very strong color retaining capacity. What is retention? Means it can hold up the color for a long time, right? Let's discuss about the basic properties, chemical properties, or basic responses of cotton fiber. You see, there are more than 90% of cellulose found in cotton fiber and 6% moisture on an average. Okay, so 90% cellulose. What is cellulose? Cellulose is the plant's part or fibrous portion of the plants are called cellulose. And moisture means it is naturally it has some sort of water particles inside the fiber. Cotton fibers generally doesn't have any reaction with dilute acid or alkali, but in strong acid or alkali, if we keep our clothes in strong solution of acid or alkali, the cotton fiber degenerates or degrades. That means the small fibers get actually tangled up and they just crack down. Clear? What about the light acid? It doesn't show much reaction with that, but you need to know that when we keep our cotton clothes for a long time, nearly about 50 years, it totally degenerate or degrade. If you want to use this, you cannot use this, it will just turn it up. Then what about the effects of microorganisms? Microorganisms, bacteria, fungi or other microorganisms can destroy the structure of the cotton fiber. Okay, and we need to also know that cotton fibers shrink when it gets wet. That means when you keep the cotton fiber in the water, it shrink and gradually it just shrinks its size, but it gets stronger while getting wet. That means when you put the cloth in the water or in any jar, you see the gradual decrease of the size of the fiber. Practically, you can use this trick at home. Keep your made cotton clothes, that means the brand new cotton clothes, and you wash it for several times, 5 to 10 times, and you measure the overall size of the cloth, you can get the proof, of course. Then we need to know also that fungus affects the cotton mostly, right? And the question may come in the final exam like, what is what is the suitable fiber to wear during summer season? Obviously, the answer would be the cotton fiber. Then you might mention the overall basic, properties. At the part of the discussion, we need to know a bit of structure of cotton fibers. Let's see how different types of cotton fibers look like. You see, this is a very fine, weak threads of the cotton fibers. These are quite heavier with some tangular lumens, and this one is the sections of these are the sections of different cotton fibers having 4 lumens each, which are quite tough, and this one is very soft type, weak, and this type of cotton fibers are actually having a very flattened structure, having a kind of twisting lumen inside this, and this one you see are very straight fibers like the ribbon or something like tube worms. So you see there are 6 kinds of cotton fibers, and there are more and more species in Bangladesh from where we can collect different types of fibers, and we need to mix them well. So this one is the microscopic structure of a cotton fiber. You see there's the only one strand. Inside the strand there is a hollow space called lumen, and the outer portion is called the secondary lumen, and outermost is called the primary wall. And finally each cotton fiber is covered by cuticle, and this diagram is here to show you that how lumen looks like. This one is the cross section or cut of a fiber. Okay, now we need to know how spinning is done, as we know that spinning is done mainly in industrially. There are lots of processes to manufacture yarns from fibers. As you know that the first stage is called of course collection. After collecting the fibers, the cotton lints are sent to the industries for further manufacturing processes, and then the second step starts with blending and mixing, where different types of fibers are mixed together, blended together, and you see these are the results of the carding process. Okay, so how carding is done, combing and carding. This is the combing and carding. The example of carding and combing are there. Why we need to card and comb them? At first we need to settle them up, as I just now told that carding is done to make them settle, to mix the important properties or necessary amount of glues or adhesive substances, and finally they are ready to blade it up. That means after blading or combing they form different tiny bristle like structures. Finally these fibers are obtained within our kind of reels. Okay, but before let's know about the processing of cotton fiber or spinning process of cotton fiber industrially. At first, cotton fibers are collected from different sectors of the cotton industry or directly from the farmers, right? What is done primarily? At first, cotton fibers are collected, that means cotton balls are collected directly from the cotton seeds. Okay, at first they are laid on the ground freely, and with the help of a heavy substance or anything manual, the seeds are separated from the cotton balls. Okay, then all the cotton balls are tied together, forming a cotton lint. What is that? Cotton lint. Okay, cotton lint. And the separation of the seeds from the cotton balls are called ginning. Can you remember the ginning process? Yes. So ginning. Then these, after ginning and making the cotton lints with the help of different vehicles, the large amount of the cotton lints are reached to the industry directly, especially the textile industries, right? There are very specially modified machines and technologies to process the further manufacturing. At first, we need to mention here blending and mixing. All sorts of cottons are mixed together. So, you might have some questions in your mind that why should we mix them? They are already mixed. Yes, the answer is here. Cotton fibers are of different species come together. That means some cotton fibers are in a great length, some in a very minute size or tiny, or their volumes differ too. Their qualities also differ. That is why we need to mix all of them together by blending and mixing process. By doing this, we can mix up all sorts of different types of fibers with different properties, shape, size and lumens. We can mix them up to lessen the cost. Clear? If we can just choose the best qualities, marketing is not done. So, we need to think of the farming process too, right? Then carding and combing. What is that? Carding and combing, we know carding means something like to make settled down, right? And combing means what do? You do comb your hair, right? Like this. This is very simple, nothing hard about that. Carding, when blending and mixing is done, or they are totally mixed up together, these all things are mixed up with necessary amount of glues, that means adhesive substances, colors, whatever is needed to form in future on the basis of the clothes demands from the market. They need to just gather their demands or the orders, right, on the basis of that. However, after that we can mix up all together and settle down by pressing those things by special sort of machine. Okay, that's how carding is done. You might have lots of videos on YouTube. You can get the resources from online, right? You can get the figure or diagrams or videos on the basis of this ground, right? What is the combing? The combing is done when all things are pressed up with a tiny level of the sheets to just scratch it off. That means, suppose this is the result after the carding, means compression is done. Then with the help of a very tiny bristle like machines, these are passed through these small tiny bristle like machines, which are actually the blades. Okay, they are passed to this. So this way they are being sliced up, small sliced up. You see, that's how combing works. And especially the separated things means each one looks like this, clear? This, that's how the raw fibers are produced. When the raw fibers are produced or the net fibers are produced, they are all together gathered and they are allowed to twist among themselves by the help of the twister. Twisting, the counts of the twist or the how many times the twist would be done almost already depends, or they are depending on the the demands. The more the twist is done on the clothes, the more the durability results in, right? So twister is very important machine, and twist counters are added over there to count the overall twist numbers. That's how the final fiber to the yarn is made, not the fiber. When the raw fibers are twisted together, then yarns are made. Only exception is silk fiber, because silk fibers are directly collected from the cocoons, right? But here, after twisting, what is made is called yarn. So we must say that after twisting, the result comes out with, yarns. That's how from fiber yarns are produced. Well, do we know how we destroy our environment? You know that the people normally, most of the people of us have habit to throw the polythene bags, bottles or crack canes or any kind of rubber items to the any place, like we are dumping everywhere without any treatment. When these polythenes are dumped or thrown out beside the water bodies or landslides or any agricultural areas or even residential areas, they result in a great harm of the environment. They are actually the lethal for microorganisms. What is the lethal form of microorganisms? Actually, that's why we need to know the cultural impact or agricultural production, right? The soil, when is enriched with bacteria or other small animals inside the soil, so water and air balance is done in soil, and pH is also important. When we dump polythene bags or other non biodegradable substances to water or land or agricultural fields or anywhere without treatment, then they ruin the overall environment of soil, water and other places. You know why? Because polythenes or plastics cannot degrade properly. It takes hundreds of years to deform into ethylene or monomers. So when it is not biodegradable, it never be friendly for agriculture, right? Not only the agricultural fields, they are destroying the air too, because these air kind of pollution creates lots of health issues for animals and plant productions. Okay, so you see a person is dumping here, is dumping the waste materials or rubbish to any place, and some animals are roaming around there. When these animals get contaminated, and this disease would create an epidemic disease too. So cholera, typhoid or other infectious diseases increase. Not only that, dumping of these polythene could hamper the aquatic environment too. These polythenes, as being non biodegradable, they are destroying the normal aquatic fauna and flora into a great life threats. The pH level imbalancing occurs due to dumping of these things inside the water. As a result, most of the animals get